Hi everyone, I wanted to offer some memorization techniques coming from someone who has had to memorize up to 20 minutes worth of speech. You know, it can be hard, and I have some techniques that are pretty helpful, whether you're learning lines for an audition or for a play or for a movie, show, even a speech. These tips can help you. I do not have the best memory. Therefore, I need to get creative with the tips that I use. And I'm pretty sure if you're like me, not great at memorizing, or maybe you are great, these tips can still help you memorize quicker. Because sometimes you need to memorize something the night before, the day of, maybe even a couple days before if you're lucky. You could, of course, try the basic repetition, but to me that was never really all that helpful unless I used repetition with another technique. To begin with, flashcards. I like to write my cue line and then my line on the back. So that way I know what line comes before mine and I know my cue as to when I am to speak. Whether it's somebody else's line or a stage direction or motion, whatever it is that helps you remember when your line is supposed to come. So, for example, I'm using Harry Potter as an example because I have been doing a marathon of the movies recently. I do it every year. So, I mean, who doesn't like Harry Potter? Let's say I'm Ron. I have Hermione's line before mine, so hers is, "Now, if you two don't mind, I'm going to bed. Before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed or worse, expelled." That's my cue line, and then my line. She needs to sort out her priorities. So that's Ron's line, Hermione's line. So if I'm playing Ron, I will have my flashcards just like I'm studying for another subject or for whatever else. If I see Hermione's line, I know my line is next, and I know, okay, this is Hermione's line. After she says, "to get us killed or worse, expelled," I say, she needs to sort out her priorities. And there you go. Boom. Memorization. Another technique I like to use is writing things 4 times each. Yes, I look a little bit like a maniac when I do it, but it's really, really helpful and it helps me remember stuff. I've done this for short scenes that I've done, 1-minute monologues to 20-minute monologues to one-person shows, and it's honestly so helpful. Whenever I write them out, I also say them, so I say the repetition of me saying them and also writing them. So, for example, obviously, you know, Ron's line, she needs to sort out her priorities. You would write, she needs to sort out her priorities 4 times. I like to minimize the space that I use in paper. I like to minimize the amount of paper I use. Conservation. So I will write it out really, really tiny and try to use up as little paper as possible. So, yeah, so harder lines, things that are longer. Like, for example, Hermione's line, it's a little bit lengthier. "Now, if you two don't mind, I'm going to bed. Before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed or worse, expelled." So what I would do is I would break it up. "Now, if you two don't mind. Now, if you two don't mind. Now, if you two don't mind. Now, if you two don't mind." So write that out 4 times each, and then "I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed." Write that out, and then "before either of you come up with another clever idea. Before either of you come up with another clever idea. Before either of you come up with another clever idea. Before either of you come up with another clever idea." 4 times each, write it out, and then "to get us killed or worse, expelled. To get us killed or worse, expelled. To get us killed or worse, expelled. To get us killed or worse, expelled." Write that out, and then I would write 4 times each the whole thing. So you're not, cutting things up and taking too many breaks, so you're just one cohesive thought. So I would write that out 4 times each so you have all of it together. But I would break it up first so you're not forgetful of those lengthier, wordier lines or speeches or monologues, because essentially if it's just you speaking, flashcards won't do much. You have to write it out and use repetition to really learn it. "Now, if you two don't mind, I'm going to bed. Before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed or worse, expelled." My last technique involves my phone. I use it as a recorder, and for this, you know how they say that you should practice something right before bed so then when you wake up you remember it? It's honestly true. What I do is I'll record what I have to say on my phone, and then I'll put headphones when I go to bed and just leave it on a loop. So it keeps on playing it, I keep on listening to it, my brain absorbs it, and I wake up knowing it. It's really helpful for those last minute things that you have to memorize, like for auditions. If you have an audition the next day and you really have to memorize these lines, it's really, really helpful. Now, if you two don't mind, I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed or worse, expelled. So you save it. Now, if you two don't mind, I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed or worse, expelled. All right, so there you go. That's my last one. I put headphones on, listen to that, and that really helps as well. For me, the best thing to do is to do all three. I mean, obviously don't do the flashcards if, it's not of use to you unless you're doing a speech and you really want to write it down on a flashcard. The more you write things down, the quicker you will memorize it. People have thought I'm crazy because I'm writing things out, but the truth is I don't have the memory that other people do. Some people, it's so easy for them to it just clicks inside and they remember things easily. But for me, no matter how many things I have to memorize, no matter the length of things that I've had to memorize, it's something that I struggled with. So I really have had to get creative with the way I memorize stuff. And I've been praised for my flashcard cue cards because a lot of people are great at memorizing, but they fail at realizing their cue lines and knowing when to say their lines. Because you really have to be cognizant of what comes before your line. Because when it comes to the performance or practice, you have to be on top of it and you have to be quick. So that's when the flashcards really come in handy. Not just for memorization, but for really bringing your performance together. So that's it. Those are my memorization techniques. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope they're helpful. Don't forget to subscribe and let me know, what do you do for memorization? Do these tips help? Let me know, guys. Don't forget to like and comment. And yeah, follow me on social media.